Hey guys, welcome back to Dad Life Fishing Adventures. Today we're back up in the upstairs room talking about fishing information that you need to know before you hit the water this year. And the big one that we're going to talk about today is what you need to know in Indiana in regards to spear fishing. We learned about spear fishing this year, quite a bit of detail because that was one of my son's goals, was to spearfish this season, and we accomplished that goal. And we're going to show at the end of this video, we're going to show the live video of him getting his goal. It's super cool. But wanted to talk to you today about some of the rules in Indiana specific to spearfishing and bow fishing and gig fishing. Any of those topics, what you need to know before you hit the water to stay legal and to have a great time out there. And I think that's something that we learned the most. So when we started off, we thought, well, oh yeah, you can spearfish as long as it's not a game fish. You can spearfish for anything. And then as we looked into it more, we were specifically looking to do it in moving water, so in a river or a creek. Only to find out in Indiana has specific rules for moving water that are different than lakes and other impoundments. So for the most part in Indiana, any public lake, you can spearfish for the most normal common spearfish targets. So whether it's carp, both the invasive Asian carp or common carp, or gar or shad, any of these things that you can spearfish in Indiana for, you already knew that. You could do that in any public water as long as it is a lake. But if it is moving water, the restrictions in Indiana are actually quite strict and only limit you to a few select rivers in Indiana. So the very first thing you have to understand is that spearfishing, bow fishing, gig fishing, those things are only allowed in moving waters in sections of rivers in Indiana that are called big water. And I'm going to walk through with you here what sections of rivers in Indiana are actually called big water and allow you to do this sport. So the bodies of flowing large water start with, on the Kankakee River, you can spearfish from the State Road 55 bridge to the Illinois state border. On the Maumee River, you can fish from the Anthony Street Bridge in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to the Ohio state line. You can spearfish on the St. Joe River in St. Joe County and Elkhart County in Indiana. On the Tippecanoe River, you can spearfish from a half-mile south of its confluence with Big Creek to its confluence with the Wabash River. So that's all below the dam there at Lake Freeman and Schaefer. So a half-mile below the confluence with Big Creek, all the way to its confluence with the Wabash River. On the Wabash River, you can spearfish from its confluence with the Ohio River on the south up to State Road 13 in Wabash County. You can spearfish in all of the White River south of the confluence of the East and West Forks to the Wabash River. So all that section in the lower White River. So specifically on the East Fork of the White River, you can continue to spearfish up to the dam on the south edge of Columbus, Indiana. Specifically on the West Fork of the White River, you can spearfish up to the dam at Harding in Indianapolis. So on the White River, you have everything below the confluence of the East and West Forks, all the way to the Wabash River confluence. And then as you go up each of the forks, you have those boundaries, one in Columbus, Indiana, below the dam on the south side, and then the one at the dam at Harding Street in Indianapolis. You can spearfish, gig fish, or bow fish in Indiana for the Asian carp, the common carp, the bowfin, the buffalo fish, the shad, the suckerfish, and the gar in Indiana. Hey guys, are you ready for a good laugh? Here's the fishing joke of the day. How do you make a fish laugh? Tell them a whale of a joke. Back to the action. So we've talked about the rules for spearfishing, bow fishing, gig fishing in Indiana. Once you know them, you can understand them. And you understand that if you're fishing in moving water, that you're fishing these large river sections. All this information is available in the Indiana fishing regulations PDF guide that they put out every year. It's a very well put together document and goes through all the rules for the different types of fishing that you're looking at. One of the things I didn't say early on is that to do this, you do need to be a licensed fisherman. So you do have to have your fishing license to do these spear fishing, bow fishing, gig fishing type activities. So when you're doing it and you're doing it correctly, and have a fun time. So where we're going to jump to next is a video showing my son's first successful spearfishing outing. Oop, you missed them. You were short. Yep. Yep, I do. Ooh, you're in them. No? Oh, nice try. Oh, ooh. I think you hit one of them.
Yep, there's one on.
Yay! Woo! Let's see him. Let's see him. Bring him on over. Let's see him.
What's with the headshots?
That's a good shot. Good job, bud. Cool.
Right as the sun goes.
Let's get a picture. Yeah, I think that gave you a little bit of a chance to get that one, to be honest. Smile. Cool. Nice. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you, if you're interested in doing spear fishing or bow fishing or gig fishing, that this gives you a chance to, one, easily go through the rules. Hey, if you're big into that lake fishing scene, check the rules, make sure that those lakes allow you to do it. Otherwise, you just need a fishing license, and away you go, focusing on those key species that you're allowed to go after. Make sure that you have your fishing license in hand, ready to roll, and make sure that you're having fun. If you're looking to do it in moving water, just remember that it's only allowed on large rivers, and we went through that list of large rivers in the beginning of this video. And if you want to check out the written part of it, check out the e-fishing guide or the actual Indiana Code fishing regulations that you can get from their website. This was an awesome day out on the water for my son. Again, this was a year-long goal. So from the moment that we bought this spear and got it for him for Christmas, to the disappointment of finding out that none of the bodies of water that we could fish for were anywhere near us, that I thought that he would have a chance of sight fishing for spearfishing game. So that was a tough thing for him to swallow, and was kind of that disappointment. The more we read into it, the harder it was. So the very first thing I learned was the list of rivers by name that you could fish on. I was like, oh, cool. You know, we're not far from a couple of those rivers. And then like, oh, but it's not all of that river. It's only those sections of the river that are considered large. So past a certain point, which is why that listing and the exact starting points are very important, is you don't want to be caught on the correct river, but above, upstream of those boundaries, because that would cause problems, because you're not technically in a large river, which means you're not technically allowed to do it. So we persevered through that process, but we still had that goal. So we finally got to a spot, did a 2-hour trip to get to this location. I got to do some smallmouth bass fishing. Reese got to do his spear fishing thing. And right off the bat, like anything that you're doing for the first time, he had a few misses. And those few misses that he had kind of got him down in the dumps. He's like, oh man, we went through all these challenges and all this stuff, and now I'm here and I'm missing them. I ain't going to get them. And when I started the day, I told him, be prepared to miss fish 50 times. And he's like, oh, but I'm not even getting close to him. So how can I miss him if I'm not getting close to him? And then we got to a section where he could get close to these bait balls of shad. And that's where it all changed. So once he got close to the bait balls of shad, he was able to target them. And then he got to hone his throwing skill, and then he started to hit them. And that was super awesome to see him. And just the joy in his eyes that he was able to successfully do something that he put together as a goal for himself. And yes, we're going to follow this up with a carp or a gar or something a little bit bigger, and have that part of the experience too. Yes, that is a goal for us moving forward. Reese really wants to do that, and we're going to try to work our butts off to make that happen. He was able to get close to a couple, but wasn't quite there, and that was a big part of it. Is that I felt that it was a little hard for him to see, because he's a little bit closer to the water level when standing in it. So he was easier when it was really shallow. When it got about waist level, he had a hard time seeing the carp out in front of him. And I could see him, I could point to him, he just couldn't really hit them or get a good lock on where they were to try to hit them with the spear. The other thing that I would say is that in the future, we're probably going to get a spear or modify this spear, because this one doesn't have a place to put a rope on. So you can't like hook it to yourself. So if you would hit the side of a big carp, it's going to try to swim away. And that means you're going to be chasing your spear around, which was something that once you got out there is like, oh, yeah, that's probably something you probably want to do. So looking for that or a way to modify it so that you could add a rope, so that you would have connection between you and the spear on the way. So with that, hey, I hope this video is helpful. If you're spear fishing or bow fishing or gig fishing is something that's interesting to you to do, check out this video. Also check out the regulations, read them yourself, go through. But I hope this video is helpful. I hope it inspires you to go out and try something new and have a lot of fun out there fishing in Indiana, just like we did. With that, if you haven't yet, pound that like button. If you enjoyed this content, drop us a comment if you're interested in doing that, or have a tale to tell, or have an interest in anything with the spear bow or gigs fishing world. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and be part of the Dad Life Fishing Adventure family. Till next time, we'll see you out on the water. God bless.